Listing presentation, everybody, that we talked about. We're going to get it posted. We're going to get it updated for the link on YouTube, and you can take a look at it after the business meeting, and you can give your feedback and your presentations. So the setting is just this, is that Gloria is the seller. I'm the listing agent. We've already had a conversation. We've already toured the house. We've understood her motivation, right? And now we're at the listing presentation. How do I, the agent, get the property on the market, sold, least amount of time, highest priced, easiest transaction, right? This is that process, all right? I hope to keep it under 15 minutes, but as you know, they all go long. We flow to the feedback of the seller, all right? If they talk, you let them talk. If they talk too much, well, skill sets, right? Did you get them back on track? They talk, they won't stop talking. They're nervous, right? And you just call them out on it, right? So I'm going to give it dry. I'm not going to put my comments in. Let's do it.
By the way, he just asked me to sit over here. I didn't even know that we were going to do this, so this is not planned. Yeah. This is not scripted.
Yeah, she's caught off guard. So every listing presentation, I bring a CMA with numbers, facts, and figures to back up my pricing, price guiding. I leave a range. I let the client pick what they feel comfortable in terms of listing the property. If they're so above my range, then we work on what we'll do in the future. In the next video is that we'll work on objection handling and redirecting the conversation to where we need to get the property in terms of getting it sold. So right into it. Gloria,
yes.
Thank you so much again for having me over today. I do appreciate it. And the opportunity to see the property, it's wonderful, right?
Oh, thank you, and thank you for coming. I know we had to change the appointment so many times, but dealing with kids and stuff.
Exactly.
So.
Welcome to the life of a real estate agent, right? So, I did all my homework, okay, and the point of this conversation is just that: is to go over the homework, clarify what your motivation is. Again, it's still going to Florida.
Yes.
Perfect. And we have a place picked out down there.
I do have an agent over there. We have been looking for a few properties already, but nothing settled.
And we have to sell this place.
Definitely.
To be able to move down there. All right, so I'll handle my end. Obviously, if we decide to work together, we'll talk to him. We'll come to a collaboration with the team, right? Okay. And we'll get you from here to there.
Please, because I'm tired of the snow. I am so tired of this winter.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So here's my certified market analysis, right? And let's just go over a few things, okay? How many times have you sold a house in the past?
This is my first time selling my house.
Perfect.
Yeah, this is my first house that I bought, and I stayed here, and my kids are growing here, and that's it. I haven't moved anywhere else.
And that's pretty typical, right? Because people don't buy a house to sell it in 2 to 3 years,
right?
Okay, they typically stay in it, raise a family. 10, 15 years goes by, and they go, I could do it on my own, but I mean, if I can just leverage the services of a professional, why not, right? Get it done in record time. So, been in the business more than a few years, okay? Have great reviews, but let's go through what the process looks like, okay? Get ready to page 1, and then it's exactly what we're going to cover. At the end of this, right, we're going to go over what the property should sell for, how long the process should take, break down the walk-away numbers and how much money you get to walk away with in your pocket.
Good.
All right?
I need to know that.
Yeah, and then we're just going to discuss working together, right? If all the stuff I've gone through makes sense to you, let's talk about maybe getting into a relationship. You know, client and agent. Yeah. If not, let's talk about what's missing. Okay. Still going down to Florida that we talked about, okay? Ideally, when do you want to be down there?
Well, my plan is to be there as soon as the school year ends.
Okay.
I want to spend the summer and get settled so that way when school starts, they're already familiar with the area and everything.
Gotcha. So you'd be ready to move as soon as school is over. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. So we can get the property, or you could get the property under contract 30, 45 days ahead of time. Have that thing settled and ready for closing and be ready to go.
If we can, yeah, that would be wonderful.
All right. Let's say, for instance, you don't find that property down in Florida that you're looking for. What's plan B?
I'm willing to rent.
Okay.
Yeah, my mind is set.
So you're out of here.
I am out. I can't. This body was not made for the winter. I'm done.
I think you're inferring that mine was, but it's okay. You know?
I mean, if you like it, sure, you can stay.
I like the area. You know what I mean? I love my seasons, but hey, you know what? Nothing wrong with that. And I always ask about our biggest concern, right? Because let's be honest, right? There's always trepidation when it comes to something this big, right? Yeah. They talk about marriage, divorce, death, and then selling a home as being one of the most stressful events in people's lives. What's your biggest concern?
My biggest concern is having random people come into my house to, so it's my space, it's my kid's space. Like, who are these people coming to the house? And also not getting the money that I want to get.
Gotcha.
Just those little things, basically.
All right, so we're going to talk about that. Thank you. And I'd have a pen and I'd write this down, because we're going to talk at it at the end. But all right, perfect. Yeah, that's all common. There's nothing out of the ordinary there, right?
Yeah.
So when we put the house on the market, what's your understanding of the real estate market right now in terms of how things go, how fast they sell, what the process looks like?
Well, I have been looking, and I noticed the property's been sitting there for a while, so I don't know if that's normal. That's usually how it is, but I don't want my house to sit on the market.
Yeah, no, absolutely. We're going to cover that, right? And that goes directly into our next point, right? Is that we still, in your price range, the average days on market is about 32. So, which means if a property doesn't sell in 32 days, there's a few things that could be misappropriated with it, right? I'm going to go over those real quick. But at the end of the day, you want it sold sooner than later, correct?
Right, but I don't want to sell my house for less than what it's worth.
Correct.
I want to make sure that I have enough money to move and buy myself a new car, buy myself a new house, buy myself kids' clothes, because we're going from the winter clothes. Then over there it's going to be all summer, so it's going to be a lot of expenses that I'm going to have, and in paying for the transportation of the moving stuff. I need as
no
much
joke.
as possible, Brian.
I know exactly right.
So,
we're not going to give it away. Right?
Please.
Is that at the end of the day, right, is I get paid proportionately on what your home sells for.
Okay.
The more your home sells for, the more we all make.
Okay.
Right? So our goals are still the same, all right? And at the end of the day, if you don't like the price, guess what you get to say?
I can say no?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. We're going to get to that too.
Okay.
All right.
That gives me a lot of peace of mind, because I was like, if I'm stuck and I accept an offer, right, and then I don't like the price at the end, I don't like the net and everything, am I gonna be stuck with these people? I'm gonna have to sell it. Like, I haven't slept, Brian. I haven't slept.
We are gonna be crystal clear on our numbers before we proceed.
You're wonderful.
Right? But the point of that thing
Bless your heart.
We need to make it the obvious choice, right? Is that at the end of the day, right, is that when your house hits the market, we want to make it the one that everybody goes to see.
Okay.
All right, not the other way around. Okay. Has anyone ever told you that a property has to sell 3 times?
No, what do you mean?
Let me explain. All right.
Yeah.
Obviously, you put the house on the market for say $1 million, right? You have to get an offer from a buyer, right? That's selling once. All right. Secondarily, home inspector has to come in. He has to say, everything's good, everything's not good, right? We have to sell it a second time, right? And then the appraiser has to come in, because 90% of purchases are done with loans. The appraiser has to come in and say, the bank thinks it's worth $1 million as well, right? So we need to be pretty crystal clear on our numbers, right, to hit all 3 of those metrics.
So who sends the appraiser? Like, who does the appraiser works for? For me, or for the buyer, for you?
Great question. A bank is independently hired by the bank to protect their assets on the loan that they're given.
Oh.
All right? So I don't want to say you don't have to worry about that, but that'll be handled on the buy side of the transaction, or by me if I find a buyer.
At the end of the day, don't you think that he represents the buyer? So that means that he's gonna, whoever comes, he or she is gonna devalue my house.
Yeah, I could see that trepidation. I guess exactly why you would think that, right? But let's be honest, right? Is that an appraiser is an independent person making sure that the amount of money that the bank loans on the property is equivalent to what they can sell it for if you don't pay your mortgage day one. All right? The bank's not in the business of owning property. The bank's in the business of loaning money on property.
Okay.
Fair enough?
Yeah. Wow.
Did I make that crystal clear?
You did.
All right,
Thank you.
So let me give you an example. You get it under contract. You have a beautiful home, right? You get your $1 million. The inspector comes in and says, I don't see anything major wrong here. Okay. The appraiser comes in and says, all right, it's worth $850. Now we have something to address.
Yeah.
Okay, so pricing it properly to begin with is very, very, very important. All right? And we plan to do that. So,
okay.
And I've done that here with my numbers, right? So, oops. I didn't fill hers out, but at this point, we'd have average days on market, all the stuff that we talk about, tell her the scope of the market, and then walk her through what her property needs to look like. So, so this is where we are right now in the market. Okay.
Okay.
On your 3-bedroom, 2-bath over on Jackson Street in Lawrence. Okay, is
Jackson Street. You couldn't pick a different address.
used to work off
But
of Jackson
okay.
Street, but that's, you know what I
But
mean. And
alright,
now she's
okay, let's
offended.
go.
You know what I mean. But listen, you
But
sell them
alright.
wherever you need to sell them, and remember that though too, right? Is that you need to be aware of the next street over, right? As if it's the other side of the tracks, right? And she's
Yeah.
over in Andover. It's,
Yeah.
you know, that my house don't look like that. So be careful of your homework and be aware. All right. Average price over in Lawrence on a 3-bedroom, 2-bath is $581,000. All right.
Okay.
We're going back 6 months. The real estate market is always in arrears on its information, meaning we're always looking at data that's 6 months old. Okay. We can usually track what they call a projection.
So I can't use my neighbor's house. I mean, she didn't. It was last year. She got about 800,000 on her house. Can we use that?
If it's a similar house, right? I mean, I can certainly look it up, but let's be directly on point with our information, right? This has to be relevant.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Right?
So I can't use that because it was last year.
You can certainly use it if it's a very similar house. Is it a very similar house?
Not really, but it's in the same street.
Fair enough, right? But we're comparing apples to apples, right?
Oh, okay.
Is that if we're looking to sell a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house, right? We should probably compare it to.
Hers is a 2-family. It's right down the street. You
Yeah,
will see it.
absolutely different, you know, and it makes sense, right? Is that, hey, listen, her house will go for that one. How come mine can't? And it's like, not that it can't, but if we're putting the price where it needs to be, we need to compare like-minded things, right? Let me explain. If you're gonna go buy a Ford Explorer, are you gonna go compare it to Lexus 350s?
No.
Why is that?
They're different brands with different makes.
Different brands, different quality, different marketing,
Yeah.
different resale value, different upkeep on cost to rent and control each year, right? You nailed it, right?
Yeah.
So we're comparing like to like,
Oh,
right?
okay, I see.
So, guess how many homes are for sale right now over in Lawrence Street, 3-bedroom, 2-bath?
I don't know. You tell me,
One.
Ryan. One?
Yes.
Oh
so
my
if you're
God.
looking for a 3-bedroom, 2-bath in Lawrence, guess how many choices you got?
Oh my God, that's it?
That's it.
I thought there was gonna be more.
Oh, that's how much is on the
I'm
market
in
right
shock right now.
now?
Mm.
Yeah. So limited inventory.
Okay.
Okay.
So that looks good for me.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And we're going to talk about it, right? Guess how many homes are pending right now? Actually, they took an offer. One.
Wow.
So,
But Brian, don't you think that maybe that's a sign that I shouldn't be selling then, because nobody else is selling, so maybe they're all should be right, that maybe they're holding off.
you
Should
just
I
told me
hold
you're going
off?
to Florida, right? And you had somewhere to go.
Yeah,
All right. So you don't sell the house. What do you do?
I don't go.
Okay. If that's a decision you make, that's okay.
No, but I want to go to Florida. But you know what I'm saying? Like, nobody's selling. There must be a reason why nobody's selling.
I don't laugh because it's funny. I laugh because there's a million reasons why people are not selling.
Okay.
Right? Is that I can get into the macroeconomics, which is that we've been behind 60,000 units per year since 2018 on new construction, right?
Okay.
And population's been growing, right? There's a shortage in inventory, right?
Okay.
Which means if you got somewhere to go, right, which isn't here,
Yeah.
okay, with these numbers, this time on market, this is the best bang for your buck.
Okay.
Right? And if holding off for 2 to 3 years is a thought process, is what if the market changes in 2 to 3 years?
Yeah.
And you took less money?
Oh no, I can't.
Would you want to take less money?
I can't. No, I can't. You know, the father of my kids hasn't paid any child support, and he doesn't have pay help for anything. So I need as much money as possible. I'm out of here.
Here we go. 22 days on market is the average days on market before it comes off the property. And the listing to sold price per ratio is 102%. Meaning, if you put something on the market for $100,000 on average, you're getting $102,000.
Wow.
Okay? So there's huge demand out there right now. Okay? All right? It's taking 6 to 8 showings to get an offer.
Okay.
All right? Time versus money.
Mm.
All right? If our property sits on the market more than 22 days, which is the average, what's your thought process on what the list to sold ratio would be? Would you get more money?
I guess we'll get
or less?
less.
Why was that?
Because if it stays on the market longer, right? So people are gonna offer less money.
Well, you tell me. You know that the average days on market's 22. You see a house that's sitting out there for 35 days. What's your first thought process?
Something's wrong with the house.
Ding, ding, ding.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So we're all in alignment here, right? Is that to sell it for the most amount of money, we have to sell it usually before the average days on market,
Okay.
or at least get it under contract.
You know, Brian, like nobody. I have sat here with different. I'm not gonna lie to you. I have sat here with different agents, and nobody had explained this to me like this. So I'm impressed. Thank you.
Well,
So far, so good.
all right.
Mhm.
Let's keep on pushing through, right? So that's our first thing that we want to do. We want to price it appropriately so it hits below our average days on market. We get it under contract. All right. List to sold price ratio, like we talked about.
Mhm.
All right. Let's talk about price bracketing. You're looking at homes down in Florida, right?
Yes.
What's your price range?
Over there, I want to stay in the between 5 and 6.
Okay, so give me an example. When you go into search, what do you type into the search bar?
I type in like a in-ground pool, but with the fence, because you know they have alligators.
Yeah,
and you don't want it. You don't want to
Let me laser focus you.
Yes.
In. What do you put in on the price range?
Oh, I don't. I like to dream. So if I like a house.
All right, so let's pretend we're actually looking to buy a property, right?
So it will be, honestly, it will be in the 400s.
So you would type in the search bar, minimum what?
Minimum like 350 and maximum 450 around there.
Exactly, whole numbers, correct.
Right.
All right. Everywhere I see, and I don't know why this is, but real estate agents love to put things at $399, $299.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Blows my mind, right?
Mhm.
Number one mistake I've always noticed when first started real estate was that they're missing a huge opportunity, right?
Mhm.
It's because when you price a property on a hard number, you get to hit two different price brackets. Let me explain. Okay, if you were looking for a property at $350 right now, all right, from $450, your property would come up at $350, right?
Yeah.
If you listed it at $349.9, would it come up? No. So you'd miss that whole buyer pool. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. So when we list this property, we want to put it on a higher number if we can.
Okay.
All right. So and that way we get double the exposure.
Okay.
All
I see what you're saying.
Yeah. So just notice that. That's all.
Okay. I'm gonna keep an eye on now. Every time I see that, I'm like, oh, Brian told me about this.
At this point, we would fast forward through all our active listings. She'd already have a huge copy of the CMA, the comparatives, all that stuff with her, and we just go through like for like, right? So she's already concerned about her house being exposed, similar to her neighbors, it being represented the right way. We'd go through and we'd say, hey, listen, how does your house compare to these, right? She'd say, it's better here, it's worse here, and we'd listen. Because at the end of the day, that's what we're here to do, right? Is to listen to make sure that what the things she wants photographed at the end of the day, because we're going to get to that soon, is that she gets that captured, she gets that exposed, and she gets that on the market, right? At the end of the day, we all know it's the price that sells the property, regardless of what the price looks like. But just want to let you know that's where we're at right now. There's not a lot of actives, not a lot of under contracts, and there's not a lot of solds recently, so we're gonna skip over it. So like I said, so this is your competition right here, which is 1150 Essex Streets, 3 bedrooms, a single family home, colonial, has high ceilings, fresh paint, and a master bedroom bath, right?
Okay.
Overall clean and tidy, right? Your house is very similar to that,
Okay.
right? You took a look at it. What's your thought process on, is it better, worse, or equal to this property right here?
I mean, my house, it looks so much better than that.
Yeah.
You know, I take care of my house. I clean my house. Anything that breaks, I fix it.
Yeah.
I'm a handy girl.
Gotcha.
Yeah. They know me at Home Depot. Like, they know me.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I go all the time.
I agree. It's a very nice house. All right. So, at that point, we talk about price range, right? So I feel as though 575 to 600 is about a fair market representation of your house in this market, in this condition. Would you agree or disagree?
I was hoping we can bring it up to the 700s.
Okay. You can do that. I just don't see the numbers representing that though. Of all the information I supplied, there are no 3 bedrooms, 2 baths in the 700 range. They're all 4 bedrooms.
Oh, okay.
2 baths.
Okay.
So.
But what if we put it at 700 and then if it doesn't sell in 2 weeks, or then we can drop it? What if we do that?
Yeah, no problem. It's that all makes sense. At the end of the day, you, the seller, get to pick the price.
Mm-hmm.
Pros and cons. You ready?
Sure.
Okay. We just went over that the highest amount of money is usually going to come in the first 3 weeks or under the average days on market.
Okay.
If we put this property on the market at $100,000 over what the information's telling us, and it sits for 30 days, are we likely to get the most bang for the buck at that time?
No.
That's your risk versus reward, right?
Okay.
Like, I have no problem if we want to put down on a contract to drop to my suggested price, which is $600,000 on day 30. Should we not have an offer in hand, right? I'd be willing to do that, right? Because I understand that money is your number one concern when it comes to this process. I get it. It's what's being used to purchase the house down in Florida, pay for expenses in moving, and then prepare and help out your children. It all makes sense, right?
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, and I want you to walk away from this experience knowing that, hey, listen, the guy pointed me in the right direction, got me in the least amount of time with the best experience. So, would you be okay taking less amount of money in 30 days?
I mean, not so much less. Like I said, I don't want to leave money on the table.
Yeah.
I don't want to leave money on the table at all. So, but I also don't want the property to sit on the market for a very long time. I want to make sure that we list it and then we get an offer.
Yeah.
I want to be out.
Yeah.
Or at least I want to know that I'm going to be out by the end of the year.
Of course.
School year, Oh, this is so hard. Everybody that's been here has given me the okay for the 700, but you have been very clear and, explaining the pricing strategy. So
let me give you an example, right? If 700 is really the number,
mm-hmm.
right, and 600 is way below market value, with the amount of demand we have right now with buyers, what's likely to happen, in your opinion?
Oh my goodness, I don't know. But let me ask you this:
yeah.
What's my competition at 700?
I didn't print that out because it's not worth 700.
Oh, okay.
I could do that if I had somebody list the property or want to list the property $100,000 over suggested value. I'd really have to talk to them about it because at the end of the day, do we want a listing that's sitting? So,
yeah. Okay. But all right. I seen your comparison. So, and I trust you. You have been very thorough and everything. So.
Well, let me ask you this, right? If the number really is 700, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, and we put it at what likely is a sale price, are we likely to get more than one offer?
No.
What do you mean?
Like if we put it at 700?
No, if we started at 600 and 700 is really the number,
yeah.
are we likely to get more than one offer?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Okay. So if we get more than one offer, what's likely the determination between those two offers?
Okay, so they're going to be battling. They're going to be offering over asking.
Price or terms,
yeah.
right? Either cash or who knows what it is, right? But it's usually
right.
price or terms.
Okay.
So
I see what you're saying.
Have I ever been wrong on numbers? Maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Am I? Usually? No. But that doesn't mean...
Let me ask you this. When the bank comes and the bank says, so your house is worth, we listed at 600, we get an offer of 600, but then they say, oh, your house is worth 650. Can I go back and ask for the 650?
When we get the house appraised, it gets appraised by the buyer, not by us, right? They only disclose that information if it doesn't meet the agreed upon purchase price.
Okay.
So if we never hear back from the bank, we know it's at or above whatever they want to appraise.
So I can't go back and ask them, hey, give me the $50,000 that the house is.
No, that's not a thing,
Okay.
So, if you want to have an appraisal ahead of time,
this is so hard.
You can certainly buy one.
And how much is that?
Yeah, usually run you $450, $500.
Oh, $450. That's a lot.
Yeah. If we were absolutely, I'm not laughing because it's funny, but I'm laughing because, it's a $500,000 sale, right?
Yeah.
At a very minimum. So when it comes to these things that actually make sense and put us at ease, we could do that, right? If you're absolutely adamant on $700,000, why don't we do this? We'll order an appraisal, right? If we decide to work together outside of price, all right, we can order an appraisal. Whatever it comes back at, I'd be comfortable putting it on the market at.
Okay.
All right, and then we'll split the cost. All right,
mm-hmm.
And that way we have a third-party independent person looking at our numbers. It verifies, 1, your concern, and then 2, it qualifies my numbers.
Okay.
All right.
Sure. I'll think about that, but that's a good idea. Mm-hmm.
All right. Why the pass? Wow. And this is what's sold recently.
Okay.
So
this is what the bank is gonna go
Yeah. This is what they're gonna
Five.
base their appraisal numbers on, right? So
Okay.
25 Sears Street, right? Listed at 595, sold at 615.
So none of them have sold in the 700s.
A three bedroom, two family. I'm sorry, 3 bath, two bedroom, right? 34 Hamilton, and I have pictures to accommodate this.
Yeah.
Right? Looks very similar, right? Same land, same lot line, same part of town, right? Listed at 599, sold for 610. Okay, 15 days on market. Let me give you an example here, right? Is that this one was listed at 549, right? Sold in 62 days, which is double the average days on market.
Yeah.
It sold for how much?
$535.
$535,000, right? Which is about 30 grand less. So the question is, it's risk versus reward. It really is, right? So if we're looking to put this thing in line with the market, get it sold within the average days on market, get the most return on our offer, right? Which is usually below 22 days, right? We're gonna want to do that sooner than later.
Okay. So I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
You're good.
All right. So why do people like working with me? Because 50% of my business is by referral, right? My goal is to have you have an experience so positive that you reach out to your friends without asking.
And I will, because I'm the type that if you
do
a bad
anybody,
good, I'm the type that if you do a bad service, I'm sorry, Brian, but I will write a bad review about you because you did me wrong. Oh. I put all my trust on you, and I will do a bad review. But if you do a good, if you do a good service, I will tell everybody. I have my coworkers that is planning on buying a house, and I have other people that I know and family members that want to sell too. So I'll definitely share your information with other people.
Yeah, let's keep the lines.
Goes well, right?
Yeah, exactly right. Let's keep the lines of communication open, right? At all times, that's my requirement. Okay. The number one concern I hear from clients is simply this: is that by the time I've hired the guy, halfway through the process, I realize, or girl, right, is that they're good or they're no good. Yeah. Right? So what's your recourse then?
I don't
None. You have to wait for the expiration of the contract, right, to say, get the hell out of here. I'm hiring somebody else, right? Yeah. We don't do that here, right? Okay. So before we sign any paperwork to work together, the first piece of paperwork we're going to sign is an exit of exclusive listing agreement, right? And if the day ever comes, even if we're under agreement, I can still let you go. She's getting all techie now, all right? So knock it off, all right? Okay. You know exactly what I'm talking about, all right? Okay. All right? Nobody's ever asked me that. They never ever will, all right? So let them knock it off, all right? Let me explain. Okay. All right? If the day ever comes you don't think I'm earning my money, right? It's already pre-signed. You just fill out the date, write your little John Hancock on it, send it to me, and we'll get out of this contract, and we'll leave as friends. Okay. All right. Do you... am I going to hear from you? How often am I going to hear from you throughout the process? Because when I was buying this house, we got under contract, and then the agent forgot about me completely. I never heard from her until closing day. Yeah. So am I going to hear from you, or are you just going to leave me up in La La Land? Great question. I mean, and the funny part is you're asking half of these questions before I even get to them, you know what I mean? Oh, okay. So you're really in tune with what the really short calls. Yeah, I mean, I really had a bad experience with that lady. And that's exactly what ends up happening. I ended up negotiating this house myself. Huh. Yeah, at the open house with the listing agent. Yeah, it's. I've noticed a lot of gaping holes, you know what I mean, that agents leave when it comes to their clients. And that's why, 50% of my business is referrals, right? Okay. The other 25 is repeat customers. Wow. Right? So that's a lot of good things for you. Yeah, but to answer your question specifically, Monday, Wednesday, or Friday after 12 o'clock, we're going to have a phone call. Okay. All right? Don't care what day it is, but we're going to have a phone call. We're going to give you the status of the property, where we are in marketing, what the ROI in terms of eyes, earballs, and showings are. All right? We're going to listen to your concerns. We're going to make any changes. And then we're going to talk about anything we need to do with corrections if for some strange reason it's still on the market after 25 days. Okay. All right. Alrighty. Well, and after it gets accepted, good to know. We're gonna walk through the acceptance process, right? All right, we accepted an offer. What's next? Monday, Wednesday, Friday, we're gonna talk about the home inspection if it was that week. We're gonna talk about the appraisal if it was that week. We're gonna talk about what needs to happen in terms of clearing out the house, how you're doing on moving, how you're doing on packing. All right. Are we on track to move on come 30, 45 days, whatever that looks like, right? In terms of going to Florida, right? Okay. And that, you know what? I'm with you to the end. Okay. Awesome. I like it. So. On what you've heard right now, any issue with price? No. At first I was thinking of the 700. I was stuck on that 700 because that's what the other agents have,
said that they were agreeing to my
Yeah.
number, but they didn't explain to me how you explained it to me. So I think I'm more comfortable going with your suggested price because I don't want it to sit there.
Yep.
And I don't want to lose money. So I want people to fight for this house.
Cool. Cool. All right. And then, obviously, me, myself, my experience, my ability, right?
Yeah.
Any reason why you wouldn't hire me right now?
No. I really like the way you explained to me, and I hope that this is not a front, and I hope this is how you work, because I really like you, Brian. You have explained everything.
Well, in that case, this last part's easy, right? Which is compensation, right? Because
Okay.
at the end of the day, I get paid when property sells.
Okay.
No upfront costs, nothing out of pocket.
Mhm.
Okay. Typical full commission on real estate is anywhere from 6 to 10%.
Mhm.
My maximum is 5.5%.
Okay. Okay.
I use half of that 5.5% to offer to any other agents that bring a qualified buyer, if that buyer makes sense in terms of the overall price of your house.
Okay.
Okay. So all in 5.5%. Okay. Can it be
5.5.
less? Yeah.
That's a lot. Can we negotiate your commission, because 5.5 it's a little too much.
Okay.
Can you do 2% or 1.5%?
Yeah, there's no skin left in the game on that part. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So let's talk about where the money goes. Okay. Let's use 5.5% to make it easy on everybody.
Okay.
Okay. Third of that's gonna go to marketing. Okay.
Mhm.
Right. It's gonna go to Facebook. It's gonna go to Realtor.com, Zillow, all those places. Right. It's gonna go to the MLS. It's gonna go to print media. It's gonna go to the hours discussing, showing the
already.
Could be worse. You're gonna have to do real estate for 11. Could you imagine?
No, I don't want to do that. Hi.
Right.
Just give me 1 minute, okay?
Yep.
Almost done.
Yeah,
Sorry.
you're gonna host the open house.
Okay.
We'd answer phone calls every day and all day, right? Okay. And then a third of that's gonna go to the broker.
Okay.
Right. The broker holds all the systems, holds all the licenses, holds the state requirements, right? Does all that stuff required by law. Okay. It's all fun and games until you get to sell property, right?
Mhm.
Everybody wants that cut. The state of Massachusetts is no different. Okay.
All right.
And then a third of that goes to me. Right.
All right.
At the end of the day, all right. I heard it best said once is that, you know what? Everything can be made worse for less. Okay?
Yeah.
Right? At the end of the day, you're going to hire me again and again and again, and I'm going to be well worth my price.
All right. I mean, let's go for it. 5.5. It's hurting me because it's a lot compared to what others have said over here.
If the property sells in less than 30 days for a few percentage bits more, is it worth your while?
Yes, definitely.
In that case, I think we have an agreement.
Okay.
All right.
Brian,
Look forward to working together.
Thank you so much. So when you gonna list this property?
At this point, we would go through the numbers, right?
Mm-hmm.
I would say, listen, if we listed at 575, this is our walkaway number. This is where all our fees go to, all right, and then so on and so forth.
Okay.
This client was very questioning, you know, and it's good, right? You want questions, you want interactives, you want them to feel comfortable. The more they're talking, the better. All right. And then at that point, I would ask those questions, right?
Okay.
It's like, when can you get the house ready for photos?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. When would you like the property to be active? I like to start active properties on Thursdays, right? So people have time to put them on their planning.
Yeah.
See for the weekend. All right. What day do you want to talk? Is it okay to put a lockbox on the property? Is it okay to put your sign on? So on and so forth. So if this ran long, blame Glorified.
Thank you.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you, Brian. You're awesome. Get my